here with my most gorgeous friend, Celeste, and we are going to chit-chat, wine,
and all the things.
And talk about all the relationship things that we like talking about. Sex, relationship, dating. Not something I do very regularly, but you know. Actually, I think I just need one more sip of wine.
Yes.
So, we have known each other for quite a while, actually.
Yeah. And everyone's like, wait, how did you guys meet? And I was like, wait, you don't have any friends that you just like randomly meet on Instagram?
We randomly met on Instagram, and we actually talked for a really long time. So we would be sitting there like talking at like 4 o'clock in the morning, 4:30 in the morning. Before we ever met, we'd be like, what do you got going on today? It's so funny. I do feel like Instagram and social media is like the new way of socializing. I do feel like do you have other friends that you've met through Instagram that you've like actually like become friends with like outside of Instagram?
Yeah, I have a couple, or some that I'm like, oh, I would go visit you in like another state.
Yeah, I have people that I would like totally. I'm like, I have a girlfriend that I talk to in Colorado all the time, and I'm like, we're totally gonna hang out one day.
I know, yeah, because one of my friends lives in Houston and she just had a baby, and I'm like, I'm coming down and I'm seeing that freaking baby.
Isn't that crazy?
Yeah, we've been talking for like 4 or 5 years.
Oh yeah, I feel like I've been telling everybody. I feel like social media is the new church. Like, it's the way that people socialize. It's the way that people meet and like get to know each other. Like, we don't have the Lions Club anymore. We don't. Not everybody goes to church. Like. Religion's kind of an iffy thing for people anymore, and I feel like social media, I do feel like people meet through social. I have a number of people, like I said, that's how we met. We just started talking. I don't even remember how we connected on social media. It's probably through somebody else, who knows. But then we just, I don't know, I feel like you can just like catch a vibe from somebody that's like really good, and you're like, I like this person.
And she also does not sleep.
Yeah, and I wake up really early. But I don't know, I feel like the older I get, the more I'm just like, I go through phases. Like, sometimes I'm really good about waking up early, and then sometimes I'm like, I don't know, I probably still wake up early for most people, but what time do you get up at usually?
Normally, I'm up by 5.
Yeah, I am too, and I hate that.
Me too. And like, my sleeping in is like 7.
Yeah,
and that,
me
like,
too.
blows people's mind.
Yeah.
And I'm like, oh my God, I slept in so late today.
I know. I feel like 6:30 is like my normal body wake up time. Right. And if I'm up at 5, I'm like, that's early and I don't like it. But if I'm up by 7, I feel like that's late. I feel like that's really like, woo, I
slept the day
really
away.
got some good. You're like, my God, it's 8 o'clock. I've wasted all of my whole morning. That's how I always feel.
We get old.
I know. I think my aging happened just recently as I got a dog. That helped me to get up even earlier, I think. It was like I worked at the hospital, I had to get up really early, and then I got to sleep in a little bit when I was only working in the clinic, and then I got a dog, and that ruined everything again. So I'm back up to getting up early. And you have a daughter. What time does she get up?
Normally 5:30. She's an early riser.
So she's a little early bird too.
Yeah.
Yeah, that would be tough. That's why I get up early, is so that I can have my quiet mornings.
See, that's why I used to get up early, because I'm like, okay, now I can have an hour before anyone else gets up.
Yeah.
But now she wants to ruin that.
Kids, they ruin everything.
Agreed.
But yet, I don't know, I guess sometimes they're okay.
Sometimes. Like when they do funny stuff.
Yeah. When they're entertaining. Yeah, isn't it, like, I don't know, you just have your one daughter, and how old is she?
2.5.
2.5. And I have 3 little angels, and I often wonder if, I don't know, my kids are amazing, like, I love them to death, obviously, but, I don't know if I would have had kids if I could do it over.
I feel like that is, and we have it very lucky because we get a little bit of like both worlds.
We both get a break.
Divorced.
Yes.
So I have 50% freedom. But yeah, that is a hard question because
Yeah.
I love her so much, but you lose so much freedom, and we're both really independent.
Yeah.
So I think that's the hardest part.
It is really hard. I tell people that all the time, and sometimes people kind of look at me like I'm crazy when I say that. But I don't know. I just I think parenting is hard, and I think it's what people don't recognize or don't think about enough when they become a parent is how much of yourself you give away.
Right.
Somebody asked, I went to this like networking conference a long time ago, and somebody said something to me that it literally blew my mind. Like, I kind of lost it for a little while because I really didn't even know how to answer it, and sometimes I still wonder if I know how to answer, so don't ask me the question. But I went up to this booth, and this guy said to me, he's like, okay, your name's Rhonda, like, who are you? And I just sat there, and I was like, well, I'm a mom. And he's like, you're a mom, okay, but that's not who you are. And he's like, well, who are you? And I literally sat there in a daze. Like, I didn't even know how to answer it.
I love that you bring that up because I literally tell everyone all the time. That's like my biggest pet peeve with moms.
Yeah.
That they call themselves mom.
Right.
Like, mom is just an adjective that describes me. That's not who I am.
Right.
Like, at all. It's just like a little teeny bit.
Right. It's on the resume.
Right, yeah. It's just a certain skill set that I may or may not have.
Right. Yeah, it was really hard. It was a really hard, and it really floored me emotionally and mentally for a little bit to have that question asked me, because I do feel like women tend to lose themselves a lot in motherhood, and they give up so much of their time and energy and identity to being a parent that we tend to lose it a little bit in who we are as people. And I think what's nice, I'm not saying it's a lifestyle for everybody, but it is nice when you do, like you and I have, we have a little bit of free time, so we do get to have that time to ourselves to really kind of connect and check in with ourselves as parents and humans and people and women and employees and, you know, self-care, all those things. So I think that's hard. I think that's hard for women. I don't know. And I think that's hard in dating too. I hear a lot of men talk about how women, and I've talked about this a number of times, how women are always trying to introduce their children so quickly because it's too much of their identity that they're not comfortable in just introducing themselves and being like, this is me and you are going to just date for quite some time and just be me and you, and then introduce distracted either. Okay, so tell me again, sorry, I just had a little distraction. We were just talking about how her relationship status, so you were married for...
So I was married for 8. We were together for 13.
Okay.
So we're pretty recently divorced, but we've been separated for almost a year. So that's...
Are you guys actually divorced?
Actually divorced.
Actually divorced.
Yes,
okay, so you're done. You're done with the paperwork and everything.
Yes. So that was big deal.
That's a lot. It's emotional.
It is.
Even if you didn't want to be there, I feel like it's emotional. How do you feel about that?
It was hard because it's like a closing of a chapter, and I'm 36 and we were together 13 years, so that's a third of my life.
Right.
So imagine losing someone that's been in your life through so much.
Right. So many huge things.
Right.
And having kids together, I feel like adds a huge component to that too, because that's something big you're sharing with somebody, I feel like.
Oh, for sure. Because like if I didn't have Violet when we got divorced, I would have just sold everything and traveled the world for a few years.
That's exactly what I say about having kids too. I'm like, I feel bad. I said to my kids one time, like, do you guys know what I would be doing if I didn't have you?
Oh yeah, I'd be like off living my best life.
Yeah, I'm like, I'd have like an efficiency apartment somewhere, no pets, just working, traveling. That's all I'd be doing. Yeah, that's all I'd be doing. But, I got Max, my nephew, who I raised at, he's 19 now. I've had him since he was like 4 or 5. And it was kind of like once I got him, then I was like, well, having kids seemed like the next move in life. I was already married. I'd been married for quite some time, and it just seemed like the right thing to do. But I think I don't know. I think when you share that though with somebody, I think that does bond you. I mean, you have to be bonded. Like you have to see them all the time for the rest of your life.
Oh, right.
For the rest of your life.
Little bits of their personality are in your child. So whether you like it or not.
Yeah, you're stuck with that person. When you have kids with somebody, you're stuck with that person forever.
Forever.
They're in your life forever in some capacity.
Right.
Whether it's daily, and I get along really well with my ex now. You know, we've been not together for almost 6 years, I think. But you know, it took time. It took time to get to that place of like being really comfortable with each other and just like without expectation or hurt feelings or, you know, whatever. And there's still times, I can still feel times where he'll say something that I just want to like immediately like get mad because all those memories and thoughts and like issues come back up. They come up to you like that.
Oh, yes.
Like you still always have that little bag of emotion that you're ready to pull out at any time. So has he started dating?
I have no idea.
You don't know?
I don't know. I don't ask.
Yeah.
I don't care. But we're not at that level yet. Yeah. Where we're super friendly. Hopefully in the future, but not yet.
Yeah. It's hard. It's hard to get there. It's hard to like you have to give a lot up. You have to like sometimes just like for me, just shutting my mouth is really difficult sometimes. Mm-hmm.
No, I agree. That's like, I'll be sitting there and I'll be like, I just want to be myself 100%. And then it's just like, don't say it. Think about the big picture.
Yeah.
That's going to hurt
really
the
hard.
big picture.
It's really hard.
Yeah,
it's hard to do that.
Yeah, I just picture this like co-parenting dream life and then I just zip it.
Yeah, I do feel like that's the biggest problem that people have in not being able to co-parent or work together is that outside of the hurt feelings, people sometimes just can't not have that last word. You know what I mean? Like, and it's hard to understand sometimes somebody else is hurt or they're not in the same place that you are, and to sometimes just let that be what it is and let it go. But I just always tried to make sure that it was good for my kids. Like that was always like my big focus of like, how is this benefiting anybody or anything?
Exactly. That's just what I tell myself all the time too. How does this benefit Violet?
Yeah.
Shut your mouth. Your pride will be fine.
Right. Exactly. So I have known you since you were married. Right. I mean, talking together online, but I've only physically known you. We met after you were separated.
No.
Really?
Yeah. For your first event, I was still married.
Oh, God. Yeah. I feel like that was just like a few months ago. No, that was like almost a year ago.
Yeah, it was a long time. Yeah.
Yeah. Okay. So, but because he didn't come with you.
No. Yeah.
But were you guys already like hitting some rocky stuff? How long did you like feel like things were not great before you decided it was done?
We had issues on and off for a few years.
Yeah.
Like we had done the marriage counseling stuff.
Oh, you did do the counseling.
And I think it just came to a head like maybe a couple weeks after that, because that was right before my last competition.
Oh, yeah, that's right. You're right. Yeah.
Yeah.
I remember you talking about that now.
Yeah, so it was like right before my last competition, and then a couple weeks later after my competition, we decided to go ahead and
call it quits.
Yeah.
Now, Celeste does a lot of fitness competitions, and she looks amazing. And I don't know, for those of you who don't know anybody who does those, they're intense. It's very intense. It's very difficult. I watched another friend go through it. That's the only reason I know. I am definitely not going through it. I do not have the discipline whatsoever to go through all of that, because it's like, it's not just a lifestyle, but it's an intensity that you have to follow. Like you have to follow really strict diet routines. You have to follow like workout routines. Maybe not workout routines, but you have to like, I mean, you tell me a little bit about it, because I'm telling you like what I know, but you know firsthand. So you tell me.
So this is like my soapbox, and this is what makes it hard for dating. And I think next time I go into a prep cycle, which will be in a couple months, that I'm going to have to stop dating unless I'm in something like serious.
Yeah, because it's very intense.
It's so hard.
And do you get really grouchy when you do it?
I don't get super grouchy till like the last couple weeks, but it's just hard because unless you're in that lifestyle, you don't understand.
No.
And
100%.
I swear I want to punch some guys in the throat when I'm like, I can't go out to eat or I can't do that because it doesn't match up with my goals. Like, I'm not trying to be difficult, but when you train for something for like a year, like, sorry, I don't want to go have a cheeseburger and
no, that's what I mean.
Get like an hour of stair stepper every day for a week because you had to have a cheeseburger.
Right. That's what I mean. It is difficult, and I think that when you date, so that's a good question. When you date, because you are so into fitness and you are so into like maintaining all that so you can do competitions. I mean, it's not just like you power through the competition and then you're done. Like, you have to maintain it throughout the year, and you know, when you're not in competition mode, you have to. And you're always conscientious of it. So do you typically tend to only find guys that are also very into fitness, or do you not care about that? Would you date a guy that was like not really into that, but he was allowing you to be that, or would that not interest you because you want somebody who's also in that lifestyle?
So for me personally, I don't really care if they're like a bodybuilder too. Like, my gym time's my alone time. I'm not looking for someone to go work out with me.
Yeah, I don't like working out with people.
I would prefer someone that's active because, you know, I hike a lot.
Yeah, you do.
And I like paddleboarding and just being outdoors. So,
she is a go-getter. I am not a couch potato by any standard, but 100% seem like a couch potato compared to her. She's always doing stuff, always.
And then I'm like, why do I do this to myself?
Why? Because you like commit to too much?
Yeah. And then I'm like, oh, good.
Yeah.
So for me, like, I just like smart and funny and active. Those are like my 3 non-negotiables.
Yeah.
But yeah, I just, as long as you understand that when we're planning like dates and stuff, like, you can't just spring on where we're going to me. Like, I need to look at the menu beforehand. Right now it's a little easier because I'm bulking. So for those of you that don't know what it is, I'm purposely trying to gain weight.
Yeah.
But yeah, I just can't be as flexible as most girls. And I work out 5 days a week.
Yeah.
And when I get closer to competition, it's 6 days a week, you know.
Right.
An hour to 2 hours a day.
She gets her 1 cheat meal a week.
Right. So.
Oh.
Party
Things are breaking
foul.
out. People are breaking
Wasn't
stuff.
us.
Yeah, wasn't us. Yeah, I do feel like that's something that either somebody that you're with is going to understand, or they're going to be very annoyed by.
Right.
Because it's a lot. It's a lot to, there's a, like, my good friend used to do it, and I'd be like, well, let's do this, let's do that. And she's like, well, I'll just eat ahead of time. Or, you know, like, it was always like and I just wouldn't even think about it because I'm so not in that mindset. Like, I like going to the gym, but it's definitely not my main focus.
Right. Yeah.
Maybe as much as it should be.
Oh yeah, because you have, like, when you're cutting, you have to track.
Yeah.
I mean, even when I'm bulking, I'm tracking everything I eat. I'm weighing my food. I'm tracking my alcohol. That's crazy.
I never track.
But yeah, if you can't deal with that, then don't try and date a bodybuilder.
Yeah, it is hard. And I'm sure there's plenty of guys out there that don't. I mean, when you have been on dates and you talk about that, like, have you had any guys that just like, they're just like not interested in that at all? Or do you find like guys are like what's your take on like how guys take that if they're not into that lifestyle?
I think I've really only dated active guys, so they've been okay with it. Yeah. I mean, I haven't dated any other bodybuilders. I think there's been like a couple that have done some bodybuilding in the past, but
so they kind of understand.
Right. But so far, anyone that's gotten to like date 2 or 3, like, they get
That's a big deal. It's very rare to get date 2 or 3.
Right.
I thought.
Oh, it is.
Yeah, when I was dating, date 1 is always the meet and greet. Like, you just want to see how you connect, if they can have a conversation. You want to see how everything goes. And then date 2 was always just like, if you made it to date 2, then that was like, we had good conversation. Now let's see if we have anything else.
Right.
And I rarely made it past that. I just felt, I don't know, it was hard. It's hard to do all that.
It is really hard.
Yeah, it's a lot of investment to date, and I've talked about this plenty of times, but I mean, just the older you get and the more responsibility you have, it's harder to find somebody that you can really connect with that has the same values and activeness. So we were talking, okay, so we're going to talk about that now. So we were briefly talking when I was setting up about dating younger men. And I was saying I have a tendency to date younger men. I've dated guys my age, and I'm not ageist in the sense of I would not turn down somebody because of their age unless they were super young. I have learned my lesson. I do like to stay within a certain parameter of age on either end of the spectrum. I've actually never dated guys that were older than me, though.
Oh, my ex-husband was older than me.
Well, I was married to a guy that was older than me, but as a single person, the oldest I've gotten in age is my age.
Okay.
So I have not dated anybody older than me. Not that I wouldn't, but the problem is this that we talked about.
Right.
Men don't take care of themselves the older they get.
Yeah, and I feel like they're also really set in their ways.
Yes.
So they have their routines, and they don't want to go out of that little box.
Yeah.
Unless maybe they have young children.
Yeah, that's true. So then they're a little bit more flexible, you think?
Right, I think so.
And see, I barely know because I really just have never, I mean, the couple guys that I've dated that were my age were super cool, and it wasn't like, obviously didn't work out because I'm still single, but I don't have anything negative to say about them per se. But I don't know. I think it's hard.
Right.
Also, the older you get, to find somebody who takes care of themselves in the way that I take care of myself, and she obviously takes care of herself.
Right. I agree. And then I think I've only dated a few guys since I've been divorced that were older than me. And yeah, same thing. I'm not like opposed to dating older than me. It's just I find that I vibe better with younger. They can keep up with the active lifestyle. Mm-hmm. I don't know, they have more energy to go out. They're more flexible because, you know, we have our kids 50% of the time. Mm-hmm. So there's 50% of the time that we're automatically not available because that's for our kiddos. Yeah. Yeah. And I don't, as I mentioned, I don't mix the two. Unless somebody would have to be really important to me to like introduce them to my kids. Haven't gotten there yet with anybody. But, so what's your high low? What's the youngest you've dated at this point? 25 and 44.
Okay. So you're like ranging about 10. Yeah. And that's about me. That's about my age range. I'll go on about 10 either direction. I have gone much younger, and that was an accident. He lied to me about how old he was just to date me. Yeah.
Wow.
Yeah. Yeah.
And then did you show up and you're like, look at those baby face cheeks?
Well, so I met him in a grocery store, and it was a really cute way to meet somebody. It was like a stupid little movie, how we were like trying to like talk to each other but not. And I was so nervous when I met him at the store that I just thought he was really cute and he had a great butt. And so I wasn't really paying attention to what a child he was. And he had like a nice car, and you know, some of the other things, like I'm like, okay, well, he takes good care of himself. He's obviously not driving like, I don't know, I don't want to be like rude, but like he obviously like has the means to afford like some nice things. So I assumed he was a little bit older, and some of the things he was buying at the grocery store weren't like, you know, childish things. So we got to the date and sat down at the date, and I looked across the table and I was like, wow, I am so much older than you. That was when I realized how much older I was than him. And he lied about how old he was then at that time.
Oh my God.
It all came out, but I was just like, oh my God. I mean, we got along great. We had such a good time.
Oh,
like,
I bet.
We like hung out multiple times, but yeah, I would never do that young gun, ever. Like, that's definitely got to be a cutoff. But younger guys always hit on me. Do younger guys just like always hit on you?
Oh yeah.
Yeah.
Younger all the time, and I'm like, what is your intention here? Like,
Yeah.
I'm so much older than you. Like,
Yeah. I don't know. What is that, guys? What is that? We want to know. Like, do you just love... I feel like younger guys love because I feel like we are energetic and we are confident, energetic people, and I feel like younger men especially are very attracted to that because they're not getting that necessarily from younger girls.
yeah, and I've asked, and they're like, oh, that's because older women don't play games like younger women do. And I'm like, I kind of want to fact check you. Like, is
Yeah,
that
a little
really
bit.
the
Yeah,
real
I don't
reason?
know. I don't know about that. But
Yeah, me either.